Now today's goal, I have two projects that I'd like to work on today. I have to do some wiring to get this bag in place. What I did already previously is I took all of the hardware off the MT-09 because I don't have my second set of hardware yet, which is a little bit of just an inconvenience. But I want to set this all up for the R1. The R1 is the next bike that I want to have totally ready to plug and play. So that's going to be the first thing. That should be a short little thing, running the wire. I have to take some of the hardware off the bike. I'll show how that works in case you want to bury the wire on your R1 for whatever reason, or that type of bike. They all seem, R6 too, they all seem to come apart very similarly. And then the other thing I want to do is I want to make the equivalent of, I have it already on the R1. I made this part on the R1, and then I made the license plate backer. I want to have a backer for that for a lot of reasons. The biggest one is I had one of the license plates start to split from vibration. And I guess on the MT-09 that plate's just hanging down. So I'll make that part up. I have some carbon fiber that I already made. We should have that. That's a relatively simple thing. I should be able to get both of these jobs done conveniently. Have a little show and tell here of how this is playing out. And then try to evaluate if this afternoon, it's supposed to clear up this afternoon, maybe even get a short little test ride. Now of course, thanks to COVID, we don't even have a license plate for this yet. It's way over a month. Look at this. And I can make that piece up today. And I thought in this case, and this was Turbo Steve's idea, he said when a bike, that doesn't have the fender, the rain wash will go up on your back. Well, I don't know that that's true, but I'll make these extension a little bit longer just so it acts a little bit like a fender. That may help. And that's just a thought Turbo Steve had. I think it's a good one. Now it seems like, and I'm not sure I'm right, the older license plates were made out of a much thicker material. The new ones are made out of aluminum. They're like toilet paper. They're really thin. And I always use the 4 bolts because first off, I have lost a license plate. I had one, these screws got loose, whatever happened, who the hell knows. It was on the RD on a 2-stroke, so maybe just the vibration, or I didn't tighten them or whatever. Who knows what, it's mystery meat. But anyway, having this on this, it's a nice secure thing, and this is all rubber mounted so you don't get the vibration. So that's one of the things that I would like to incorporate. And I'm going to make 2 of them if I have enough material. Make one for the 650 and one for the MT-09. Now after looking at the way, actually I could make 2 of them, make one for the 650, one for the MT-09. I'm looking, I have one on pretty much all the other bikes. I have one on the FZR. Have one on the, I really need 2 to complete my collection. These are relatively simple parts to make. Now, if you didn't want to make your own carbon fiber, you can buy carbon fiber sheets. The problem is it's a little pricey, but there's no reason you can't buy it. Or if you really don't want to do anything, which a lot of people do, and that's fine too. I know you can buy these things already made up, and with cute little writing on the bottom, that whatever. I love gefilte fish sandwiches or whatever. But my little thing in life is I like to make stuff. Now, share a cute little story as we're taking this bike apart. When I first got the R1, I was so enthusiastic about riding it, I couldn't imagine. And I had the seat off several times for whatever. I don't even remember what I was doing. I actually was making that piece is what I was doing. And one of these days where you didn't have enough coffee or whatever, I did not tighten these bolts. I put the seat on, and if you don't notice the bolts are tight, it looks like they're tight because the seat is in the right position. And I remember getting out on the open road, and of course when the bike is new, all you want to do is go through the gears and going whoop, and it scared the puppies out of me. Now this R1 is pretty much exactly like the R6s are, in the fact that these side things they're a little tricky to get on and off. You got to slide them forward, but obviously they do come off. Now that's going to expose my new track for getting that wire. This wire is not, this is the wire I use to charge the battery in the winter, and I want to try to bury it up under the tank if I possibly can. The tank bag has worked out so well, and it really suits my needs perfectly. Now a couple of things, I had to pirate these parts off, but they are coming, and this is the whole thing. And when I get them from Vlad, I'll show that up on a video, because that is the biggest tip of all. Now this is something you really can't believe would happen. Luciano got me, in fact, an aftermarket gas cap, gold anodized. This part didn't fit on. The anodized cap was just a little bit up where this didn't sit the way it should. And so I decided I'll just put the stock gas cap back on for now, because you don't even see the gas cap when this is in place. Now, anytime I do this, it reminds me of when I had to replace the starter motor on this, and that was quite an invasive job. But in this case, I'm just looking to bury that wire and make it less conspicuous. It's really just a cosmetic thing. And once these are out, we'll be ready to raise the front of the tank up and see where we can locate that wire. And this is one of the reasons it's always handy to have the service manual, because I can just open this up and I can see if there are any hidden bolts, any connections, anything I need to know before I start routing that wire. I may have to take that front piece of the this piece off, I'm not sure, but I do want to try to bury that wire if I can. And if I can't, I'll just put it back together and leave it the way it was. It has the look of a Ferrari with the hood open here, but see, this is when I did the starter motor on this, everything had to come apart, the fuel injection, everything. So at least something like this, I know it's relatively straightforward. Now what I want to try to do is route that wire up through here, have it come out here, if I possibly can. And I'm not sure I can do this, but I want to give it a try. So one thing, again, handy while working in these darkened areas here, in the black hole in space, there are two 8mm wrench you need to get in here. There's two things, two screws. That's going to allow me to take this front piece off, and then I can see exactly if I'm going to be able to snake that wire in there. Now it seems like this is a lot of work just to bury a wire, but I guess when you're a fanatic, this is all part of it. Okay, this should allow us to pull this part off, and there's a bunch of little rubber biscuits in there. And we didn't lose any of them. Wow. So what I wanted to do, if I could, and this is just a spare piece of wire. I want to see if that'll fit in there without a problem. Yeah, it does. Put it over here. And so what I have to do now, the problem is my wire that's on the goes to the battery for this is not long enough. I've got to put a little piece of extension wire on it, and then I can route it up through here. I don't want to compromise this, so I'm going to take this wire off, take it downstairs and do the extension the right way. And then I'll have a long enough wire. This will actually work out pretty good. Now everybody knows I hate electrical wiring and work and stuff, but last time I was at Harbor Freight, I picked up this little box of the little connectors, and I started using them today to extend this wire, and they've worked better than I ever thought. You can just use a heat gun to shrink the shrink tubing. They're waterproof, and just pinch them with a pair of needle nose pliers, needle nose cutters should be a better word. Make sure they're nice and tight and seal them up, and of course the red one for red and a blue one for ground. So that worked out pretty good. Now I wanted to make this harness so this part would fit under the seat where it has the fuse. I don't want the fuse up under the gas tank. So I tried to engineer this up, and another thing, so that when this is up under the gas tank, it's going to run through a little trough along the side of where the side covers are. These are staggered, they're not one on top of the other. So this worked out pretty good. So the extended harness worked out pretty well. And of course I want to keep the fuses under the seat. I always have 2 or 3 fuses. I'd just be able to take the seat up and change them. Now because I'm old school, I want to test the wire. I got it hooked up to the, let's just see. Okay, as soon as it beeps, you know it's okay. Now instead of seeing that wire go all across the bike, this will be obscured by the bag. One nice little detail touch. And now it's just a question of putting everything back. Now my feeling is all of the things that we do to the bikes, they're all just little details. one detail after another. And when you get all the details right, the big stuff looks great. This is going to give us a lot of options about where and how to route this wire conveniently. Oh, that couldn't have been any better. Perfect. And every time I make one of these little detail changes, I'm just so happy. Now these parts, it's really important to get all the tabs lined up. And it's really important to put the right side on. There we go. Get the tab in the front, one in the back. Looks like we got it. Always important to put the left side on the left side. Well, that couldn't have worked out any better. And that's all there is to it. Now, hooking up the wire, we're done. Now, the only thing left to do on this is to set the clock, because we've had the battery disconnected. The instruments on the R1, it maintains all the mileage and everything and all the settings, but it doesn't maintain the clock. I gotta manually go back and set the clock. Now, I always just forget about the clock on the instrument panel. I have a big one because I like to keep track of the time that I'm out on the open road. Oh man, love that sound. So that completes that part of today's project. Now we can move on to the carbon fiber. Get all that moisture out of the exhaust system. Yeah, we're ready to start working on the carbon fiber parts. And now we have a nice sanitary looking bag mount without a big wire going across like a clothesline. I think that was well worth the effort. And it's always these little details that make the difference between something that just looks ordinary and something just a little bit nicer. Now these are the carbon fiber parts we made out of that sheet that we've already made. And we have, when I made the sheet, I made as much as I could, just so I'd have extra material for projects like this license plate bracket. And in between projects, it's always a good idea to have an extra cup of coffee. Wouldn't you agree? Oh yeah, I agree 100%. 100%. Coffee and then carbon fiber. Andy?
Give me a little boy.
Andy, these are bacon treats. You got him better trained than I had. You trained me. He loves baconators. So before I start this project, I got to share a very funny little story. You're wondering why I have an extra historic plate. A free extra, you know, and I only have 4 bikes, but I have 5 plates. What happened, and I don't know if other states are like this, but I lost the plate. I came home one day from a ride. It was on the RD, and I had no plate. And what the hell did I do, you know? So I called them up. And the guy's as nice as pie. This is before COVID, of course. Now I bet if you call up, you talk to the Wicked Witch of the West. Anyway, or Poland or something. So here's what happens. The guy is as pleasant as can be. He says, "Oh, sir, you have 4 historic bikes registered. You have number 6017, blank, 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 and 6019. He said, "Which one is missing?" I said, "Well, 6017 is missing. I will send you that plate. It'll be in the mail, and we'll get it to you within a week." So, okay, I don't have a plate. I can't ride the bike. Dun, 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 dun. So I wait. It doesn't come in a week. It comes in a month. In a month, I open it up. I'm all excited. I got the plate. I'm all excited. I can ride the RD again. Open it up. 6019. That's the number of the GS. Call the guy back. Now, luckily, I saved the note with his name and everything. Got to talk to the same very nice guy. He says, "Oh, it's a mistake. I'll send you 6017. So another 2 weeks goes by. So I have this extra plate. It's never even had a screw put in it. But in case I lose the plate from the GS, I have an insurance plate. Now, another thing. They used to make these out of steel. They make them out of aluminum. Now, I guess the prisoners like dealing with aluminum better. But they're all just a little, it looks like the workmanship on this plate. This is well, prisoners make it, let's face it. Okay, so end of funny story. Funny for you, not for me. I want to see how I can. This is the sheet of carbon fiber we made just so we had some carbon fiber to make parts with. How can I lay this out efficiently? Let's see. Wonder if I can get one out of there. Not really. Get one out of there. Yeah, maybe. Can I get two out of the... Yeah, I get two in a row. Okay, so that might be the best way, is just do side by side by side. Laying it out, because this stuff is, you know, I don't want to waste it. So just, it's going to take a little time. I'll lay it out with tape, figure out where I want the screw holes and everything, and get this as prepped up as I can. It looks like it's going to rain any minute out there. So if it rains, I'm not going to be able to paint it today and put the clear coat on. I'm trying to be real efficient about using this material up. Well, I'm not sure how this is going to play out, but as I'm looking at it, and I got the plate, I want to leave the thickness of the material on here, and I want to put a radius in there. I want that radius to be the same. Okay. And I want to have this little lip hanging down just to act like a little semi-fender. And once I get one that I'm happy with, then I'll use that, transpose it over to the other side. There's no point making two of them if I'm not going to be happy with the first one. Now the Dremel saw should be relatively straightforward to cut this out. I guess we're going to find out. The material cut good before, cut very good in fact. But I do want to make one and make sure I'm happy with it before I make two. Yeah, I think that shape's going to work for how I laid this out. Now the Dremel saw really doesn't cut. It burns its way through. And usually on carbon fiber, you'll wind up using a couple of blades if the carbon fiber is thick. This is West Systems resin. It cut pretty nice, no problem at all. Now we have that part roughed out. Now I'm going to use a step drill. Always a step drill when you're going to drill carbon fiber. And then see how I like the shape of this once it's up by the motorcycle. If I like it, I'll make another one. Now the Harbor Freight step drill. Very inexpensive. It's a good thing to have if you're going to work with carbon fiber. And now the old trick, we're going to pull off all the tape, go outside to the garage, and see if we like the way this looks. If we do, again, it's all in the eye of the beholder anyway, so I think we got just enough of a border on there and a little bit of what I'll call the Turbo Steve mud flap. Trying to envision as if I'm going to, yeah, I think I got that close to what I want. And I think that the little area on the bottom will help on if I ever have to come home on a rainy day. And I would love to get a license plate within my lifetime. And now it's just a question of repeating the process over and over again, make up the second part, get it ready for the finish. And then from this point on, it's just going to be a lot of hand labor. Now it goes without saying I vacuum up regularly, and when I'm not shooting video I always wear a mask doing this because the carbon dust is not pleasant to breathe and I'm sure it's not healthy. Anyway, we got these two parts roughed out. This was a major thing to get done today because I want to have a dedicated day to finishing these and putting that really high gloss finish that's going to match the rest of the bike on it. And that'll be, well, as soon as we get a paintable day. Today it's starting to drizzle out there. And these are now ready for a super high gloss finish, radius and all the edges off. And of course then we got to wait for the paint to harden and buff them out. I want to leave no detail out of this project. So I was happy to get that wire put in the right place. I have my two parts ready for finishing. That's a good productive day. I think these will add a nice detail touch, and I know that wire on the R1 was very annoying looking the way it was. It looked like an unfinished job. Anyway, I don't want to end any video without thanking the COVID workers. Guys, thank you so much at keeping us healthy, keeping us making parts and going for rides and being with our family and whatever. So again, I want to thank you for watching. I enjoy making the videos. I hope you enjoy watching them. Share them with your friends. And again, thanks so much for watching. And we do try to post up a video every day of what we're doing, both in the shop and out on the open road. Hope you enjoy sharing it with us. We have a passion for motorcycles, which I'm sure you do too. Or let's face it, why would you be watching this video? Good point. Anyway, we had 2 little projects done today. We have more coming. We have those RD carburetors to mount. We have more carbon fiber little parts I want to make for that MT-09. It's all coming. Winter's coming. And we still have some time to get some more riding in. With the fall leaves falling every day. It's a shame it rained this afternoon, or I could have gotten a clear on those parts. Anyway, thanks for watching.